Yes,
we've got one thing that'll be fun is a little bit of Tally's video on Zovaal's 5,000 IQ plan, which actually I thought was interesting. I'm definitely out of sync with. I mean, for me, it was always the 5,000 IQ plan was like a bit of a meme, but you know, I've always thought it was quite intuitively obvious that everything that anybody does is basically just a decision tree. So from their subjective first-person experience, they all sort of, you know, experience it one way. But then when we look at it, we only see the branches of the decision tree that were followed. Therefore, it has one big through line. But then I think the problem is Blizzard's telling of that story and the bits that they've chosen to double down on because they think they're menacing when they're actually really lame.
Yeah.
Which will be fun to get into.
Yeah. But also, I don't think people do an awful lot of, I guess I would call it scheming in their own time, where the average human experience isn't trying to get out of jail by having a spy network do a lot of influencing for you.
Really?
So I cannot, at least in my experience. In my experience, I usually just bribe the guard. But anyway.
Well, usually it's a prison that I've built myself and put myself in. So,
Yep.
Some Mr. Robot Season 2 shit. It's based off this shit post from Comically Lane. And, you know, like, Tally says, like, this is a shit post that's having fun. And it's basically just this sort of idea of, like, wow, the jailer's 5,000 IQ plan results in, like, you know, it's dependent on 500,000 things so that we then go and kill Argus. And, you know, then in a whole bunch of other... And it's just that thing where it's like, this is such an improbable plan.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a shitpost. It's trying to have fun with it. I don't exactly think the OP 100% believes like that this is how it is.
Oh, no, they said it was a shitpost.
Yeah, it's a shitpost.
Yeah, I mean, they literally responded to Tally's video in the comment going,
comment,
the whole point is this is just me taking the piss.
Yeah. So, and you know, I think that's just to maybe, the thing that's really going for is how Blizzard have portrayed the intelligence of Zovaal.
Yeah.
And how he's been connected to so many things. And just the fact that he has that many connections makes you think, oh, wow, million IQ.
Yeah, definitely.
So the T&E video is basically just saying, you know, did he plan this literally all a few million years ago and it's all happened just so? You know, Tally's video is basically just being like, well, no, obviously not. Tally's just sort of more saying he's always... Basically, Tally frames the jailer as being very opportunistic.
Yeah.
And I would say he is opportunistic, but, you know, more importantly, he has a clearly defined goal that he wants to get to. He's always going to move himself in that way. And whenever something doesn't work, he's going to, you know, is he going to just quit? No. He's obviously going to adapt his plan.
Yeah. That reminds me of what I was going to say about the line of him never knowing defeat. It depends on what you define defeat as. Because is defeat, you know, as a callback to Kelthus, has he been defeated, or has he just had a very large series of setbacks that he's gotten over? So he is arguably, you know, I have never known defeat. Translator's note, I've been knocked down a load of times, but I've gotten back up every time. That's, I think, a possibility.
Yeah, and certainly one that will confuse and mislead players.
Yeah.
Which is tricky. I mean, it's fine if he says that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's other things in the game where people are like, you know, not really, actually. So, you know, Tally's video is just kind of like saying, you know, sort of in a more sort of comedic fashion, that he's an opportunist. He's always, you know, he's always playing his hand, doing everything that he can. And that's led him to this place where it's like, the Arthas plan failed. Damn.
Oh, well.
But hey, that Banshee lady that he created now has killed herself. And oh, maybe I could make use of her because I'm kind of in the business of influencing people in and around Azeroth because that's what I really want. And that does make a lot of sense, actually. And that's always... I mean, okay, look. The only thing I'll say is some people, and I don't know if this is his intent, or maybe it came across too much in the final edit or something. As I said earlier, it's like he has a goal. He knows it's far away. So he's like, how do I get to this goal? Okay, well, here are all the pieces on the board. Here are the pieces that I can collect. And here's how I'm going to play them. And then he plays, you know, he plays his hand. And after, you know, he's played his opening gambit, he's like, okay, well, these things have worked. These things haven't worked. So I'll move that bit there, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, it's just playing a big, long game of chess. Where not every, you know, your opponent's going to thwart some of your moves, but that doesn't mean you've lost. So that's, I mean... Honestly, because that's how decisions and time are, I always just thought that's what it was. I never thought that it's like, the jailer was like, I'm going to help Sargeras fall now, and this is going to lead to Sylvanas Windrunner, the Banshee Queen, who hasn't been born yet, doing all these things, and me controlling her, and then me starting a fourth war in Azeroth so that I can... No, I don't think anyone ever thought the jailer thought that. Maybe some people did. But I think it's more that, like, Blizzard have tried to make him seem like he's so fucking intelligent. And it's not that people think he literally planned all of this from the start. I think it's just that there's not that much believability that he was so giga smart all the time. And I think that's just being mixed in with something a lot of people have called out for a long time, that Zovaal is a new villain. They are trying to bootstrap themselves into having a Thanos, like, instantly, instead of doing it slowly over time. And the way they've done that is connecting him to things you already know in the past.
Yep.
And I think people are pissed off about that. So the mixture of that and his portrayal in game is what's led to the 5,000 IQ thing. And I do think the 5,000 IQ meme is basically spot on to the emotional experience of this character and why people think he's really lame.
Which, I mean, I think, by trying to hammer home that people don't actually believe this is kind of like defeating the point that the important part is the experience of it all.
Yes.
And the experience of it all is that the 5,000 IQ plan is clearly what the experience of it is at the minute.
Yes.
Which is ultimately the problem.
And that's Blizzard's storytelling.
Yep.
So this is, one thing we wanted to bring up here, just some voice lines in the game. And I think there's a bunch of others you wanted to get as well, but we ran out of time.
Yeah, this is very much a kind of, I guess, well, it says here what Blizzard tell us. This was me trying to put together quickly what everything that actually, what we hear about him is. I only picked up basically the cliff notes, but even from the cliff notes, there's enough to say there's a little bit of, oh, hey, this is clearly going to happen.
Yes.
Or, oh, hey, it's clearly one way. Then there's other stuff that's like, no, it's clearly another. If you read them at face value.
So like the jailer says, a relic of the first ones responding to a mortal. Impossible!
Yeah, which is literally like, if he had 5,000 IQ planned this whole thing, then us landing in the Shadowlands and turning on the portal should have been part of his plan. Otherwise, it wouldn't have panned out that way. Because if this was all his plan every stage, then we were the ones who gave him the other sigils or let him have access to them. Handy enough. We dropped all of the guards and even brought the Primuses to him. So we were a part of that. But if he didn't know that we could get out of the mod to do that, then he clearly didn't know. So that kind of breaks it apart slightly a little bit. Yeah. If you assume it's every step of the way it was planned. Which it clearly wasn't, because you're not very good at forming the ultimate plan and micromanaging it if ultimately one bit of information you don't know, I guess, but...
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm going to grab something to write on soon, because I actually think just by a quick little diagram, this entire thing can be explained mega intuitively in no time. So I
don't even think it needs explained.
Don't have anything to...
I think everyone just kind of knows.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be such... You're so unprofessional.
I can write on this, how about, could you read the next set of lines from the jailer?
From the jailer?
Oh, yeah, so nothing escapes them all.
Yeah, so it's mostly, this is focused on it being yield to the inevitable. Nothing escapes them all. Yield to the inevitable. The light is with me, even here, says Anduin. Go, champion, go, make it through the portal. I'm the sacrifice. And then the jailer goes, interesting. Obviously, someone who knows what's happening doesn't say interesting, because interesting is new information in your head. And then, Anduin's like, oh, you failed. But no, I have precisely what I need. Which... if you're thinking about this in the context of him being interesting, so he doesn't know what's going on, but then going, no, I have what I need, that implies that in that second he went, no, I can use you to do my dirty work, because he knows who he is, and he knows that the light is with him. So he probably saw the, I could infiltrate the Kyrian with you, which kind of implies he's smart and is able to create that plan on the go. So I think that's the thing I took away from that when reading it under this perspective, which is definitely reading too far into it. But then we have the kind of the next step, which is a little bit contradictory in a sense, which is obviously when Mal'Ganis comes in and goes, no, it was all part of the Master's plan. For eons we have done the Master's bidding in secret across countless realities, and then, says the Legion, the Scourge, the Argus, all pawns in the game beyond your grasp. And that implies again that, oh no, all of this was planned.
Yes.
Everything was planned. By that one line in the void of information, you're not going to assume. Because Mal'Ganis isn't going to say, this was pretty wacky, but somehow it turned out okay.
And all of this is why what I'm about to say
Yeah.
kind of like, it's really important, but it doesn't matter. And it's like this crazy thing. So if you were to, I mean, look, I have awful handwriting.
Oh my God.
But
How do you expect anyone? Oh, have you just drawn a branching diagram?
yes, with a
Oh my
little
God.
box. So here's the thing, right?
How
This
did it
is
take you so long?
this is the start, right, for the jailer. This is the start for the jailer, and this is where he wants to get. And here's just kind of like, imagine this is
Hang
just
on,
a little
fuck. Sorry.
diagram.
There you go.
Yeah, so this is the start. This is his goal. This is where he wants to get to. Or maybe this is just where we see him right now.
Yeah.
And you can sort of see, every branch in this is like a different path.
You cannot
different-
see that on the lighting on that camera.
Oh, balls.
Yeah, ham it. This may be able to get.
Only thing is it won't be in focus.
Yeah, focus. This is going to be difficult.
Won't be in focus.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. See, now I have to wait to see the output on stream.
Oh,
So this is really terrible. Oh, okay. So it's not in focus. People can kind of see it. So you see what, imagine a tournament bracket.
Yes. So
It's
right.
a tournament bracket, fuck's sake. That's what you've drawn.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing. So there's this. This is.
Put your hand behind it and block the light. Because the
There?
lights, should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, it's the light was a problem.
Okay. So, there's the start. There's the end.
You've turned it towards the light, you fucking goon. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I wasn't.
Yeah, it's that light.
Oh, it's that
Yeah, it's
light.
that light that's hitting
oh,
it,
it's
yeah.
that light. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's the start. There's the end. Each, everything in this decision tree
Yep.
is, that's a fork in the road, right? Mm-hmm. And, in reality, this is what it could look like. Loads of failed plans. Loads of things that he tried and didn't work out. But the only ones that we see are the one that I have the dotted line around. That maybe
Yeah.
looks like that. So if all those voice lines that Matt said are something you hear, and the only things that you know are the things that led him down the path that he actually took, you're not going to appreciate all the things in this decision tree that he tried and fucked up.
Yeah, of
that
course.
failed. And that's basically, it's a perception thing. A big part of narrative design is how your narrative is experienced. And just because you know the lore in your head, that doesn't matter, because as far as your user is concerned, the only thing that matters is what they can see, what actually exists in their experience.
Yeah.
Are you
Sorry.
having fun over there?
Sorry, I'm trying desperately not to interrupt him by laughing because I could just see everyone in chat saying, why not just use Paint? You've got a computer in front of you that you can show people, and you're like, I need a fucking diagram
Oh,
physically.
yeah.
Oh,
I forgot. That's what Twitch streamers do, isn't it?
Yeah,
They always
yeah.
bring up paint.
yeah. So,
Sorry, I'm old-fashioned.
oh my
Whoops.
God, fucking hell. Yeah, but I think Cyan really has it right. You should have drawn an MS Paint and sold it as an NFT.
Oh, man, that would have been it, yeah. That would have been it.
It would have been just as bad as Konami.
And just those other things, events end emotion, how long have I waited, can your mortal minds fathom, every pawn put into play. Kel'Thuzad claims to have served Zovaal all along.
Yep.
Fun, this is one of the things that we included in our Lich King video back in beta, and this was the bit that was like a wee bit more speculative, but now it's hard confirmed.
Yep.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
It's like, all of these things really make you feel like it is a 5,000 IQ plan. All of the people in his team are trying to communicate to us that it is a 5,000 IQ plan.
Yeah.
Of course, if you use a little bit of, what do they call facts and logic? If you use just a wee bit of that, you can tell that obviously it's not like it's a million IQ plan and every single thing he did panned out perfectly. But the player experience is that it may as well have been that, and it cheapened all the things that you loved and got you into this franchise. Therefore, the fucking golden raspberry, or is it the Razzies they call them? The award for the worst narrative design in popular gaming, I would almost say in the last decade, it does go to the World of Warcraft team and Zovaal.
Definitely.
I have never seen a villain, A, be done so badly within his own story, and B, be implemented into a game world in such a destructive way that is so disrespectful to the fans' investment in the franchise. And that's basically the thing. It completely disrespects and shits on all of the past of World of Warcraft. And it does that because it's done badly. If this was done well and it had enough time to breathe, this could have been a good storyline and a good plot. Maybe the lore, if they were, if somebody was to just break into Blizzard's server, steal all of their lore, and you laid it out, it could actually be really cool lore. But continually, it seems to me that team has bitten off fucking far too much they can chew. And maybe we'll actually find out that, and I have a video plan for dropped storylines. There's a few things I think that Steven and the boys have said that haven't exactly panned out, or plot lines are like, oh, this is going to come up and hasn't really came up, or, things like that. So, I also do wonder if Steve is just kind of sitting there being like, I mean, fucking hell, me and my team, look at all this lore we created, all of this, stuff in the story. And man, look how much of it got cut, or look how much of it that we never got the opportunity to show in the game because our production was behind. There's also that bit. This could all be full of great story, great lore, and great ideas, but the in-game bit gets completely fucked because maybe their production schedule's just a big mess.
Yep.
And, maybe that's why Folk and Fairy Tales is really good, but the in-game lore at the same time isn't really that good.
I mean, this is stuff that me and Jared, or Jared and I rather, to be correct, we're talking about this earlier this week when we were talking about stuff for upcoming videos, like the dragon stuff.
Yeah.
The dragon stuff and some of the old god stuff. And you're like, okay, there's a lot of this stuff that is actually, like, the lore isn't bad. It's just most things surrounding implementation is fairly bad. And a lot of this stuff that happens with the Shadowlands and I guess the speed at which we've delved into the cosmos has been fairly grim in terms of implementation. But, the joking hypothesis I had was that Steve and the lore team and everyone who's working on narrative design do a great job of a lot of things. And then they walk over to the actual game development team and go, there it is, do whatever you want, we don't give a shit. Because that's what it kind of feels like to the player. Especially the one who's like, okay, I can see the points you're making. I can see, all your inspirations to these characters, your inspirations for this plotline. I can see them all pretty clearly and how they fit. You've clearly worked hard, but then you haven't done the bit of telling it to us. So it's almost the case that as much as we hate the idea of World of Warcraft splitting all story out and telling it in books and stuff like that is really bad. At the same time, one of the things I took away from, my conversation with Jared was this would likely be better if it was a series of books instead of a game.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, ultimately a failing of the entire team, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, and look at, it could be that a lot of WoW is driven by very gameplay people. I mean, we already know lots of the senior development team come from the Elitist Jerks Forum. And look, I know there's people in the Mythic rating community who are like, hey, we're not all just meathead gym bros. We're actually, because the way sometimes you see people who maybe get built at the gym or, they get this bad rap for being jocks and, not being interested in things. And, sometimes people kind of apply that to, and by the way, I don't mean this because actually a lot of Mythic Raiders are in fucking incredible physical shape. I'm not referring to that at all, and fucking more power to them. But they obviously are interested in lots of other things. Loads of them, I'm sure, would love player housing or love transmog or love all of those other aspects of the game. But, you could maybe say in Blizzard, is it the case that the lore stuff hasn't been massively prioritized? I mean, they've certainly messed up lore in the past. And with lots of the very senior people in the team, being from Elitist Jerks, being kind of more, in the numbers and, number crunching and all of that, is there maybe just not this institutional will to really put the experience of the world first?
Clearly not.
It doesn't feel like that.
Because they have, realistically speaking, they have bigger fish to fry. How are the director and his most trusted lieutenants at the team going to sit down and solve that problem when they have other problems to solve?
That's it. Prioritization is very challenging.
Yep. So I imagine that they know, oh, man, we'd really love to get all this stuff really, really right. And it's very important, but we have production issues to solve, first and foremost. We have some content issues to solve. And it's literally just which mole of the 20 moles gets whacked.
Yeah, and I guess that's it. The realities of game production are so much more brutal than I think most people know.
Yeah, especially,
Because that's the thing too, like, there's not all that much modularity.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. That means that even one thing can be a blocker to a whole patch.
Yep.
And it's just fucking rough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how do I put it this way? There's something I want to say that might come across as potentially mean to whoever implemented the feature, but the dance studio, as an example, I feel like the fact that that looks the way it does and his gameplay the way it does is just, that must have been the best they could do within the World of Warcraft engine and the team, or the production time they were allotted for it, because it's definitely not particularly well implemented to look at, to see. You're like, that's,
Yeah.
it kind of looks a little like that would have been something that World of Warcraft would have been like, oh yeah, this is perfectly fun and cool, this is interesting in 2009, but we're 12 years on from then, 13 years now from 2009. I was like, if that's what you can do in your game, you certainly have bigger problems to solve than lacking content.
Yeah, that's pretty true. So really, that's a lot of it with the with the T&E video. I suppose it maybe seems in more people than I thought. Like, quite literally would have thought that shit post was factual, and it's not. And the OP of the shit post even like admits like, no, this isn't.
Well, it feels factual, so it might as well be factual.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I think one of the most important things is being right doesn't matter. You actually have to communicate it well,
yeah,
or else you might not be right. And no, I mean, also, like, there's obviously objective reasons why being correct is important, but don't hold I'm right, over everything, because I think that's a lot of what's happened with some of the people who are very, angry, and maybe, it's like some of the people who are on the side of that video are angry at the people who are not, and then some of the people who don't like the video are very angry at the people who do like the video, and it's like, oh my god, everything's crazy. Truth always sort of lies in the middle.
Yeah,
Often does.
Polarization strong for engagement, but not always the nicest thing to have.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Zoval's ended up. Actually, no, he's not a polarizing character. Everyone thinks he's shit.
Yeah, everyone thinks he's shit. Yeah.
So, cool. I just wonder how Blizzard will respond to. I mean, look, I know that a lot of people in the World of Warcraft team, let's just say, they will prefer Taliesin's videos over ours immeasurably.
Yep.
I know this factually, by the way. This is not a speculation. And that does mean that Taliesin does have quite a bit of influence and, clout there. And I think it is certainly going to sting for some of the people on that team who I think find Taliesin videos. I mean, no, I don't think. I literally know, because I've been told this, find the Taliesin videos to be very comforting. I think that's going to be a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Because, look, it's important that people are out there, and even when it's not popular to do so, that they're willing to steelman something. That, fair enough. But when the person who's, generally the one who's steelmanning you the most is kind of coming in and being like, hey, guys, legit, this is, pitiful mortal. I'm laughing at this. This is bad. What are you doing? That's going to sting. And I think more than any video essay that I could do on Zovaal, this is the one that's going to be far more impactful, because I think, he's probably the person they'd actually want to listen to. I know, right? So it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. We shall see how it goes.
Yep, absolutely. I was going to say something. What was it? Dear, it's gone. Yes, no, I just wanted to highlight something funny. PK Rex said, Zovaal is very polarizing. Either you wrote him or you hate him.
Oh, wow.
God. Not a very nice joke, but it's funny, I think. And the
It
point
sure
of
is.
comedy is not to be nice, it is to be funny.